Hi, so today I wanted to talk about INFPs and routines and how an INFP can go about developing routines in life because it's something that the INFPs in general tend to resist, and we don't like doing it. We tend to resist structure, especially when it seems like it's being imposed on us by the outside world. But I'm going to talk about how an INFP can create routines that work and why they're important to have, even though it's what the man wants. Because there is this running joke about INFPs and ENFPs, and sometimes INTPs being children stuck in the bodies of adults, and how we find adulting, which I really dislike that word, but we find it difficult, and there's this running joke about that, but there comes a point where it's not funny anymore. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, and hopefully it might be helpful for some people. And I'm not a professional, I'm just kind of saying what's helped me, and I think that it might help maybe other INFPs or just people in general. So one thing that's been helpful to me is that instead of calling it a routine, whatever it is that I'm trying to get in the habit of doing, I'll call it a ritual in my head instead, because to me that word is more appealing to me, and it seems like something more enjoyable to do, and it seems something more like taking care of the soul versus taking care of the body and like the outside world, because in some ways having your outside world, like your house and your career and everything, in order, it does take care of your soul too. So that's why I use the ritual for it. But I think finding a word or a way to describe it that works for you might be helpful. It's been really helpful, for example, with my skincare. I've been trying to be good about that the last year or so especially, and I've taken to calling it a ritual. And despite the fact that I have this really rather large pimple on my chin, which isn't really my fault because I had to wear a mask inside for 8 hours when the air conditioning wasn't working very well, and it was 115 degrees outside, so I don't really consider this to be too much of my fault. But I've been trying to be good about my skincare and thinking about it that way, and thinking about it as a way to take care of not just my physical self, but like my mental health and everything else too. So it's become something in my head. I've convinced myself that it's something that I want to do, and that's kind of the main thing, is that you have to figure out a way to convince yourself that whatever it is something that you want to do. So manipulate yourself, essentially. And I think one of the main reasons why INFPs and ENFPs struggle with finding routines is that we don't want an outside force imposing structure on us, which is something that it seems, that's what routines seem like, because a lot of people that we encounter in everyday life who seem to have everything together and they have this perfect life, a lot of them are ESTJs and ESFJs, and kind of making lists and taking care of things bit by bit and being super organized and on top of everything and having a full social calendar, and they have everything planned out. That comes a lot more naturally to people of those types and judging types in general. And INFPs, we have such high standards for ourselves, and we have perfectionistic tendencies that when we think that is how it has to be, or else it's a failure, that just makes it really discouraging. And when you're trying to model your behavior on somebody who's had their entire life doing that, and it comes naturally to them, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, which is why it's important to not beat yourself up when, like, let's say you're trying to work on eating healthier, and let's say you have a bad day and you go eat fast food or whatever. Don't beat yourself up over that one day. Just say, okay, I'll start doing better again tomorrow, and take it one step at a time, and don't get complacent and let one day of not going through with your routine or whatever it is turn into a week or a month or a year or whatever. Is don't let minor setbacks get you down and throw everything off. And I think it's kind of also a manifestation of, for INFPs and ENFPs, are lower SINTE. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're the best at long-term planning and kind of sticking to things. We tend to want to be more flexible, and if we have this set thing that we're doing, we feel tied down and we don't like it. So it's really difficult for the intuitive perceiving types in general, I think, to have set routines, or you have a list of things that you're going to do that can kind of just hold you back more, because it seems like this overwhelming thing that you have to get done. Which is why I don't like making checklists. I like keeping it in my head, at least, and then, you know, when I have this physical list that I'm looking at of all these things that need to get done, it's really overwhelming. So anyway, that's kind of brief advice about why it's important to have some consistency and some routines in life, as much as it might seem boring or too normal or what the man wants you to do. It's actually beneficial for the individual to have that. It doesn't mean your whole life has to be planned out every second of the day. And pretty much just find a way to think about it that works for you and makes you feel like it's something that you want to do rather than something that you have to do. And this is as much advice for anybody who wants to take it, which I'm not a professional again, so don't hold me to professional standards, but it's advice for myself too, because I have bad days and everybody has bad days. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know, and I will see you later. I hope you're having a good day.